You're about to go through a massive glow-up on today's Oblyron Divination. Greetings everyone, I am Oblyron, Lord of the Underworld and consort to the most lovely Hecate. Thank you for joining me on today's Elemental Synastry reading. It is a divination technique which was bestowed upon me by the goddess upon our sacred marriage. It involves the tarot, the 5 elements, and astrology. So I draw a tarot card to see what is influencing each of the 5 elements. And what seems to want to influence spirit is the inverse 4 of Cups. Alright, thank you, love, for your wisdom. Wasn't quite expecting that to pop out, but there it is. So it must be very important. Okay, so the inverse 4 of Cups means that within spirit, we are going to probably manifest coming out of a type of, let's say, a type of hibernation mode. We've been in isolation for a long time. We've been kind of refusing help. And now it's pretty much time to get to the point to where we are wanting to branch out. We are wanting to connect with others. Perhaps the end of our discontent. It means that, generally speaking, brighter times are ahead for us. And this is starting to manifest in spirit, which is represented by the bell. Okay, so let's use the astrology die to see what is the likely outcome or perhaps the hidden advice for this end of discontent. Okay, so we have Neptune in Taurus in the 5th house. Alright, so I roll once for the house, and then I roll a second time for the decan. 12. So we have the 3rd decan of Taurus. Okay, which is the Lord of Perseverance. Alright. Or I should say it's Perseverance. It is actually, let's see if I remember correctly, it is the Lord of Success and Fulfilled, that's right, which is about perseverance. Okay, so in spirit, we have this wanting to be happier. We have this wanting to come out and connect. And what we're finding, especially with it being in the 5th house, which is ruled by Leo, we definitely want to bust out. However, with Neptune in the 3rd decan of Taurus, it means that perhaps we either have to wait a little bit longer to either become more aware of our own plans or more aware of ourselves as an individual, or perhaps that we could also be coming to a point where we have done the work and we have persevered enough, and now we are ready to basically fulfill what we need to fulfill. All right, thank you. Now, let's see. Let's go right along and see what's happening in the element of fire. So the fire represents our drives, our ambitions, everything that the element of fire represents. Okay, my love, what is happening in the element of fire? All right, the King of Swords. Thank you, love, for your wisdom. So, with the King of Swords, we are being advised to be rational, be practical with our ambitions, take a very intellectual approach to it, take a logical and rational approach to it. There's lots of things that want to manifest in spirit, especially with Neptune influencing that. However, again, all of this energy that's ready to come to us in spirit needs to be tempered by our rationality, especially when it comes to our drives and ambitions. All right. Okay, so what advice do you have for us, love? All right. So we got Mercury in Libra in the 7th house. All right, lots of Libra energy. And let's re-roll again for the decan. 1. So the first decan. Okay. So the first decan of Libra, influenced by the moon, is essentially telling us to also look at the emotional connections within our relationships to help sort of funnel this energy. Libra generally represents, it could be a significant other, it could be people that we view on an equal footing with us. And yeah, with that first decan of Libra, essentially it is, again, it's another very balanced approach. It is the Lord of Peace restored. And so, regardless of all this energy that wants to come out to us, we must still take a very balanced approach, and also a balanced approach with the people around us when it comes to the element of fire, or when it comes to our drives and ambitions. Perhaps by being and treating others with a sort of cool and rational position, can we help what's happening in the spirit to manifest even more? Excellent. All right. Let's see what else is happening. So let's move right along to the element of air. And also, all of these different elements essentially lead back to the element of spirit. The element of spirit is the main theme of the reading. Okay, so my love, what is influencing the element of spirit? All right, the inverted hermit. So just as we have the inverted Four of Cups, we also have the inverted hermit, which again points to a sort of coming out, a sort of end of isolation. Where we essentially want to break out. But again, with the hermit being inverted, we have to be also careful about that, because we could be a little bit reckless, perhaps in these pursuits and endeavors. So let's see, what is the advice for the element of air, which is represented by the swords? Okay, we have Jupiter in Virgo in the 10th house. All right, so Jupiter, Virgo, 10th house. And let's re-roll for the decan. All right, third decan. Okay. Very interesting. So what's particularly striking about this is that we have the third decan of Virgo, which is essentially the Lord of Wealth. It suggests abundance, family lineage, all of that. And it's also in the 10th house, which is Capricorn, and that has to deal with our careers and our status. So those two combinations are really powerful. And when it's related to this inverted hermit, it could suggest, I would say it probably suggests more of the coming out of isolation phase than perhaps maybe being reckless about it. Because again, if we were reckless in our intellectual pursuits, if we were reckless in our communication, then we obviously wouldn't be manifesting this wealth and this abundance within our lives. However, if we were to look at it as coming out of isolation, then yes, that would make more sense. So it's pretty much get out there and do what you got to do, whether it's work, whether it is starting a new venture or something, but just put yourself out there. And yeah, everything is sort of propelling us towards that too. I would say the bit of advice which may be kind of influencing us to be a little bit cautious would be this Libra aspect, in that we must be mindful of our relationships in order to manifest this abundance and to come out of this isolation. And again, also with the Neptune influence here, it would suggest that we also need to understand ourselves spiritually as well, to be able to bring all of this into fruition. So let's see, let's move along and see what else is happening. All right, so we have the Pentacles, which represents Earth, and it can also be spiritual or it could be material wealth. They kind of go hand in hand. Let's see. All right, my love, what is influencing the element of Earth? Okay, Seven of Swords. So, all right. So we have a bit of, let's see, kind of a, not a trickster energy, but it's more of like, let's see, it's the Lord of Unstable Effort, and it is influenced by the moon. So it could be, yeah, it actually could be that there is some type of mischief afoot in perhaps our material realm. Maybe in the past we felt like we were unjustly treated or we were sabotaged when let's, you know, when it came to our finances or something like that. Maybe we were wronged by somebody. However, let's see, what is the advice for that? What is your wisdom, my love? All right. So we have Venus and Aries in the 9th house. Okay. Venus and Aries in the 9th house. Let me kind of line this up a little bit, and let's reroll for the decan. Okay, 7. So we're in the middle decan of Aries. Okay. And there we go. All right, so the middle decan of Aries is the Lord of Established Strength. And okay, and with it relating to the house, the 9th house ruled by Sagittarius, it would probably suggest that we needed to understand ourselves on a deeper level, or perhaps we needed to expand our horizons to be able to adequately fulfill this abundance which wants to come in, or everything else which wants to manifest. Perhaps that was holding us back a little bit. Maybe we didn't have the experience, and maybe that is what allowed for other people to come in and basically infiltrate our sense of well-being. Let's see if we have anything lining up right now. 2150. Okay. All right, so we have, okay, so these two are a bit in conjunct right now. which is kind of interesting because they're both kind of hinting at the same thing. However, one is saying, well, there's abundance here, and another one is saying, well, reflect a little bit more here and discover yourself a little bit. So I would say, yeah, that would make a little bit more sense. So both of these sort of conflicting energies could have led way to, again, not understanding ourselves the way that we needed to. And with Venus influencing that, it's essentially saying, just learn to appreciate the beauty within yourself as well. Understand that manifestation of the material abundance is not just about making money. It's also being able to feel fulfilled within oneself, to find the beauty within oneself, so you can find that confidence within oneself as well. All right, let's move right along. So, the element of water. The last element. Water represents our intuition, our emotions. So what is influencing the element of water, my love? Okay, so we have the inverted Three of Swords, the inverted Lord of Sorrow, which essentially, so on an emotional level, it could be that finally our sorrow is ending, our pain is ending. We really are starting to feel better about ourselves emotionally. And this emotion and this intuition is the key to kind of unlocking the rest of it too. So let's see what is happening for the advice or the influence, the outcome. All right, thank you, my love, for your wisdom. Let's put this out of the way. Okay, so we have the North Node in Leo in the 12th house. Very spiritual reading. We got Neptune here. We got the 12th house energy over there. And yeah, a lot of going within oneself. Okay. So, let's re-roll for the decan. All right, middle decan of Leo, which is the Lord of Victory. Oh, I'm sorry, South Node, not North Node. So, all right, so the South Node would suggest that we need to look towards remembering our past and where we came from to be able to go into the future. It's essentially telling us that, yes, we did come from this emotional abundance. We already did the work in the past. We already suffered enough in the past, and let the pain come to an end. And this tied in with this 12th house energy, again, is another sort of deep spiritual interpretation of that. And we were victorious in the past at one point. And again, those, with it being related to the water, it can also, and that South Node, it can also relate to, let's say, our ancestors. So it's our ancestors that are also trying to tell us, hey, things were cool in the past. So definitely remember who you are. Again, remember who you are. Find that beauty within yourself. Remember who you are. And you'll find that a lot of these things will unlock and unfold. Let's see. It looks like we may have... No, we don't have one there. What else might we have? Aha. Okay, all right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we have a square between the element of water and the element of earth. And that would make a lot of sense because here the past is telling you you're enough, and the present is making you have feelings that allowed for, let's say, other people to betray you. So yeah, with that square, it'll amplify some of those energies, but it also teaches us a valuable lesson too. This south node here, if we can amplify that, it would help to break the pattern of the square. And if we can also look at the inconjunct between the element of spirit and the element of air, that will also help to teach us a lot of valuable lessons within that as well. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so yeah. Again, let's recap a little bit. We want to basically fulfill our destiny. We want to come out, we want to break out, and everywhere that we have, we need to look into the spiritual nature of what we're feeling, either from the South Node or from exploring this Four of Cups energy. A huge key component, and this one's kind of all by itself, is the wand right here. So our drives and ambition is also another thing which can really help us to propel this. And this is basically saying communicate on an interpersonal level, communicate effectively, and communicate honestly with the people in our lives, the people who have meaning in our lives. The earth element teaches us to also have confidence within ourselves. And let's see. And again, take the lessons of the square right here and the inconjunct to really emphasize those key points to work on. So your past is telling you that you've been enough, and trust in that so that you could better put up boundaries too with maybe people who've betrayed you. And also understand that in spirit and in the element of air in our communication and intellectual pursuits, understand that there is abundance waiting there, but we need to come to grips with both this material abundance, feeling worthy of that material abundance, and also understanding the spiritual nature of why we would want to basically expand our horizons. All right. Okay, so that's about enough for today. If you've resonated with this, then feel free to leave a comment and let us all know how you've resonated with this reading. All right, so my brothers and sisters, know that I am with you in the shadow, and may Hecate illuminate your path and guide you at the crossroads. Thank you.